Crazy Jake, his name was Robert Jacob. They say Jacobs, but his name was actually Jacob. I don't know how Jake got out here, but he was actually from back east somewhere. May have had a little legal background, I don't know. But he went back in the superstitions, looking for lost gold. And it's kind of interesting because the first time I ever met Jake, he always carried a double-barrel sawed-off shotgun, which loaded with buckshot is a pretty formidable weapon. Crazy Jake finally ended up on Malapai with a story that he'd found a cave back there with brush in front of the entrance. And inside that cave were gold bars, adobe bars, stacked up in there, average about 47 pounds apiece. And he had all these gold bars, and of course now he needed financing to go in there and bring all this gold out. So he was going around the valley area here, offering people 300% return in 60 days if they'd come up with money to finance his going in there and bringing out these gold bars. And there were many prominent people, doctors, lawyers, prominent people. Jake probably promoted more than anywhere from $3 to $5 million from investors. And not one of them thought to ask Jake, why didn't you bring out one bar and sell it, and then you'd have the money to bring out all the rest of them? They never thought of that. And Bob Corbin was the Attorney General then. Bob was a friend of mine. And they finally prosecuted. They got somebody to testify against Jake, and they sent him to the penitentiary for fraud. But Bob told me it was difficult getting people to testify against Jake. I said, why? Because they were fear of retribution, that if they testified against him, that he might take violent action, and they said no. He said they were still clinging to the hope that maybe there were gold bars back there. But of course there were not. So that was one of the final episodes of the Crazy Jake story. Tom Collenborn, a very well-known local historian. Tom is undoubtedly one of the best authorities on the history of Superstition Mountain. And after Crazy Jake had died and was buried, Tom had a phone call one day. He answered the phone. He said, who's this? No, I said, this is Jake. And Tom said, you're supposed to be dead. And he said, yeah, that's what everybody thinks. And they held a long conversation, and Tom told me, he said, I honestly believe I was talking to Crazy Jake, that somehow he had faked his death. And Tom shook his head. He said, I still believe I was talking to Crazy Jake. So there's my Crazy Jake story.
Thank you for watching this episode of Mysteries of the Superstition Mountains.